Good evening, fastball fans, and welcome to the 2018 ISC World Tournament here in Kitchener, Ontario at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. This evening's game features the Niagara Snappers taking on the New York Gremlins in winners bracket action here on the ISC network. I'm Blair Setford with my broadcast partner this evening, Alan Mansky. And Alan, this one's going to be a good one between the upstart Niagara Snappers and potentially, I think, the co-favorites, the New York Gremlins.
I would think so. The Gremlins come in after a big 14-0 win over the Cobourg Dirt Road Company, while the Snappers come in with a pretty decisive victory of their own, picking up a 6-1 win over Grand Prairie. And as you mentioned, still in the winners bracket, so both teams undefeated thus far. That'll change, though, after we call all of this action that's unfolding before us.
What do you think the Niagara Snappers have got to do to potentially pull off the upset here tonight?
Well, the big thing for the Snappers, you got to have a clean first inning. If they get out of it 0-0, I think that's a good start for them. They've got to keep the Gremlins' offense limited. They had a big first game, 14-0, as I mentioned. If you can keep them in check, you'll get off to a good start. And then for the Snappers, keep the offense rolling. It's been on a bit of a hot streak lately, so keep those bats going, and I think that's the recipe for success for the Niagara Snappers. As they get going here with the top of the order, and for the Snappers, their first batter will be Peter Dobbin as he swings at a pitch low and in the dirt, but he got a piece of it, so he stays alive in this one. He's facing Andrew Kirkpatrick from the Gremlins as he gets set, and the 0-2 delivery is fouled off. Staying alive in there is Dobbin. He's playing third for the Snappers, who are in black with red lettering. Beautiful night here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. As another 0-2 delivery, this time it's clean through, and Kirkpatrick picks up his first strikeout of the evening. And the alignment for the Gremlins, as I mentioned, Andrew Kirkpatrick doling out the pitches, catching them Brian Abry. Across the infield, Eric Ochoa at first, Ladislao Malarzuk at second, Nick Mullins in the shortstop position, and Jerome Remeke rounding out the infield. In the outfield, they've got Matthew Roy in left field, Ben Anoka in center, and Zenon Winters in right field. As the pitch comes in, it's a strike. Kirkpatrick working ahead early in both batters he's faced so far, which is the key anytime you're towing the rubber at this level.
James Darby, a late addition to the Niagara Snappers roster. The former Australian and now Great Britain national. The Kyle Linton is the connection between the Snappers and James Darby. Of course, Kyle Linton and James Darby both playing internationally for Great Britain. And good to see James Darby back here in the ISC World Tournament. It's been a number of years since he was here.
As the other pitch comes in, and it's now an even count, 2-2. And you mentioned those connections. You see them all over the ISC map. You'll see a guy who may seem out of place, but then you go through the roster and you say, oh, okay, that makes sense. There's the connection there. Is this one hit on by Darby, but it goes just to the left side.
Jerome Remeke back to North America after a death in the family, and we extend our best wishes to the Remeke family. Jerome's grandmother, I believe it was, passed away earlier this summer.
2-2 pitch there. That one fouled high out off the screen in front of us. Darby staying alive and wasting some more pitches, making Kirkpatrick throw some early as he steps in for another battle. Kirkpatrick takes the sign. And this one in and off speed pitch. And they're going to call him on the strike. So another K for Kirkpatrick, as there's now 2 away in the top of the first.
It did look to me like he went around, tried to hold up, but that bat definitely crossing the plane and going through.
And now Trevor Falk will step in. He's in the right field position for the Snappers, looking to get something going for them. First pitch in there, misses outside. 1-0, working ahead is Falk. Kirkpatrick deals, and this time gets the strike call. Same location as the first one. This one a little more on target.
Not that I'm calling it, but Trevor Falk has home runs against some of the best in ISC over the last 10 to 15 years. The Snappers played in the former ISC Travel League of the Canada East region. Home runs off of guys like Todd Martin, Frank Cox, Andy Skelton, some of the top guys that played in that league over the years, but just missing there.
Good eye in the batter's box. Is patient, doesn't go chasing a lot of bad pitches. Finds himself with an even count, 2-2 with 2 out, top of the first. There's the payoff, and he'll slap that one right up the middle. It gets through the infield, and he finds himself aboard with a single to get the offense going for the Snappers.
Well, often as goes Trevor Falk, so goes this team. He has been the spark plug for these guys for about the last 10, 15 years. Talked about a veteran of this squad. Here's another one of them, Scott Young. And these two guys have powered the Snappers to a lot of the wins over the years. Scott Young, one of the best bad pitch hitters in fastball. I talked to Nick Hayes earlier this afternoon, and he was astounded at how many bad pitches that the Snappers were able to hit. He thought he was getting away with something, but Snappers putting everything in play against Grand Prairie 2 nights ago in that big 6-1 win.
Hitting pitches that nobody should be hitting, and that always makes life difficult for the pitchers as Kirkpatrick deals and gets himself ahead 0-2 with that delivery. Falk on first, 2 out. Day 3 of 2018 tournament. That one is in there for a high swinging strike on Scott Young, and he goes down swinging as Kirkpatrick retires the side. As we go to break here, you're watching the ISC World Tournament on the ISC Network.
To an ISC event? Then stop waiting. Check out our website or social media pages to see when the next event will be near you and come be a part of the experience.
Back here on the ISC network, it'll be Kyle Linton working to Darren Newson. Darren Newson also has played internationally for Great Britain. They'll be the battery for the Niagara Snappers as they face the hard-hitting New York Gremlins. Leading off for the Gremlins, of course, it is left fielder Matthew Waugh. He'll be followed by Jerome Remeke, then Ben Anoka. Ben Anoka, of course, in the conversation all the time for who is the best player in the world. Andrew Kirkpatrick, he's making a stake for that particular title right now this season as well with the summer that he's had. Eric Ochoa, Ladislaw Malarzuk, Zenon Winters, Brian Avery, and Nick Mullins will hit in the 9 spot for the Gremlins tonight. We'll set the Snappers defense for you, left to right across the outfield. It's Casey Toes, Scott Young, and Trevor Falk. Peter Dobbin, Brent Thompson, Kevin Newhouse, and Dan Edholm getting an opportunity to play on the dirt. I don't know if Danny, I guess somebody's loaned Danny a trapper. Normally he's out in the outfield. And Kyle Linton, of course, working to Darren Newson. Matthew Waugh steps into his familiar spot at the back of the left side batter's box, the foot planted firmly on the back line, what remains of it. And Linton just off the outside corner. Our umpires this evening, the third team out on the field. It's Gary Johnson behind the plate, Rob Straitman, and it was scheduled to be Brandon Bloom. Brandon was pressed into service in the last game as Lou Davis took a ball off the head and opened up quite a nasty gash on his head. But believe it or not, folks, Lou Davis is out, just out of your frame there, but Lou Davis is back on the field and umpiring third base in this game.
Great to see. You're always worried when you see a situation like he had in the 4 o'clock game. But as you mentioned, he's back working and really hasn't missed a beat.
There's a called strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Matthew Waugh leading off for the New York Gremlins. A week ago, the Gremlins took out the USA Softball National Championship, their 3rd straight USA title. Andrew Kirkpatrick, the most valuable player, both pitching and hitting, and he has been doing that all summer long. Matthew Waugh in a bit of disbelief as that pitch, he's rung up on the outside corner. Matthew Waugh, one of the best eyes in fastball, but rung up there. It's not often that you get a backwards K in Matthew Waugh's scoring line.
And he had some words trying to see what the umpire saw there so he knows next time. And you always want to know if you rung up on strikes like that where it was. So next time, I would imagine he gets the same pitch. He's going to be swinging, looking to foul that one off so we can get one. He'll drive back in fair play.
Well, I think rather than complaining, Matty would have been better served by just saying, is that as far out as it's going to go? Jerome Remeke will step in. Jerome on the way back, and now Kyle Linton in a bit of disbelief at where he just missed with that pitch. And Darren Newson will go out and try to talk Kyle Linton off the edge. Jerome Remeke with a bit of a knee injury. Sorry, Alan, but making his way back onto the North American tournament circuit this year. And this guy is a definite impact player.
In a situation like that where we saw Kyle Linton getting a little upset with the umpire, catcher is your best friend, gets in there, gets you quiet, gets you calmed down and back in the game, because the last thing you want is him with words with the umpire, because then the next time you get a close call, you may not get it.
Well, he just got a call with Matthew Waugh, and Linton is still hot. I think he wanted the second pitch as a strike as well, and he's going to go have a tour around the infield and take a look at the outer reaches of the dirt before he gets back to the circle here. And I think he's a little concerned about the landing area as well. Of course, the beating that the Diamonds take in terms of the pounding on the pitchers with the leap off the board and landing out on that hard dirt. They've got the clay bricks under there, but it gets covered with loose dirt, and Linton hopping around a little bit. He's going to have to get comfortable out on that board.
Grounds crew, though, has done fantastic all weekend long. As soon as the game ends, they're out there getting it ready for the next group, making sure everything's in tip-top shape here for the World Tournament at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard.
And in with a called strike there. So 3-1 after a couple of borderline pitches. If you're just getting in with us here on the ISC network, it's the bottom of the first. The New York Gremlins, the home team at the plate. This one inside, and Jerome Remeke works a walk off of Kyle Linton. It's Blair Setford with Alan Atmansky here on the ISC network this evening. We're hoping for a good one. That last one with the Pueblo Bandits and the Hill United Chiefs. The Bandits hanging around a fair game there, I thought, for the most part, and then the Chiefs pulling away late for a 6-0 win. But that was a 2-0 game for a long time, and the Bandits had a couple of looks at it.
And I'm sure Hill United getting a little bit of a scare in them as the game progressed, and it was only 2-0. If you keep it in reach, anything can happen, and that's why if you're Hill United, you just want to get on those sticks, get some distance between you and them, but good on the Bandits to keep it close and show everybody that they can play with the best.
Linton jumping ahead of Beninoka 0-2. These two teammates for a season with the Toronto Gators. Second place finish back in 2015. And this one skips in the dirt. Remeke's going to make a bolt up to second, as unable to come up with it is Newson. I think he might have got that one on the bare hand. He's flexing a little bit, and he's going to take a second to go out and talk to Linton, and maybe might have a mitt full of bumblebees there.
Yeah, he came up trying to throw, but just couldn't get a good grasp on it. It was rattling around in there, and it didn't help that it got in the feet a little bit of Ben Anoka. But for the Snappers, they just got to focus on getting the batter here, and then you got 2 outs in the inning. You can see the end of the tunnel.
Little ground ball, but it's booted by the shortstop, Brent Thompson. Somewhat uncharacteristically, Thompson on loan of the Snappers this week from the Wiarton Nationals, and usually Brent is as sure-handed as anybody out there, but that one clanked off the glove. And, you know, Alan, you talked off the top about avoiding the big innings and trying to keep the Gremlins offense down as much as possible, but already here the Snappers have dug themselves a bit of a hole, a walk, and now an error, and now you've got to face the hottest guy in fastball here this summer, Andrew Kirkpatrick. And Newson not helping himself whatsoever. That ball practically went right through his glove. You've got to catch those. You cannot give away extra bases here like that. You've got to help your pitcher.
And you think what the situation could have been for the Snappers, a man on second with 2 out facing Kirkpatrick. Now you've got a runner at second, a runner at third, and as you mentioned, the hottest hitter in softball at the dish right now. So they really got to buckle down here and get the out at first, and then keep an eye on the runners, because you know that the Gremlins are alert. You don't win the American National Softball title by just slacking off on the base paths.
Well, you've got 2 of the smartest guys out there in Remeke and Ben Anoka. A ground ball here probably doesn't do it.
But I would think anything to the green probably scores.
Oh, easily. Anything to the green will score too. Ben Anoka is, on the base pass, one of the fastest guys. It's certainly in the top 5 fastest guys out in the diamond.
And Kirkpatrick's going to make you earn every single pitch that you get.
Half-hearted attempt there from Kirkpatrick. He evens the count 1-1. Edholm behind the bag at first. Dobbin just in front of it at third. Thompson is in. So is Kevin Newhouse at second. That pitch misses just off the corner. Linton trying to nibble. You do not want to leave anything out over the plate. Kirkpatrick, plenty of power to all fields.
And Linton, veteran enough to know that. He's not going to give him anything that he can do a lot of damage with.
Called strike there on the outside corner. That's the pitch that Linton is going to need to try and keep this Gremlins offense in check. If he can find that outside corner, he'll be okay. There's a little flare just over the glove of Brent Thompson. Coming in to score easily is Remeke. And just some bad luck there as the infield in, trying to contain the runners at second and third, and that just getting over the glove of Brent Thompson. But that's the price you have to pay for the error and the pass ball. And Brent Thompson, normally that's a can of corn right into his glove if he's in his normal position, but he's in 6 feet. And that's just over the top of his glove.
And he did well just to get a piece of it to knock that down, because it was headed to left center. And if that one gets through him, probably the second base runner, which would have been Ben Anoka, comes through.
Well, Eric Ochoa will step up. And Eric Ochoa, if it weren't for Andrew Kirkpatrick, this guy might be the hottest hitter of the summer. He's had a great season for the Gremlins. He hit over 600 at the U.S. National Tournament last week, and trying to stay on a hot streak here for the Gremlins right now. They're threatening to break this open early, already a 1-0 lead.
And we talked about it off the top. Clean innings, oh so important for the Niagara Snappers when you're going up against a potent team like the New York Gremlins. And they make you pay with even the slightest of errors on the diamond.
That pitch just off the outside corner. Linton already having to throw a lot of pitches here in the first. And this one is skied by Ochoa. Tagging over at third. Scott Young will just bring the throw into second, knowing that he's not going to get Benanoka at the plate, who jogs in. And it's 2-0. Give Eric Ochoa a sac fly RBI. And now 2-0 for the New York Gremlins.
I believe that's what they call doing a job, bringing in another run.
Well, bringing in another run, but an unearned run. And you got to stay out of the crooked number innings if you're the Niagara Snappers. But a lot of this right now self-inflicted. A walk, an error. And here's a high hopper at the plate. Newhouse strong throw down, but they're not going to get Malarzouk. He runs very well.
And I think they're going to call that.
Foul ball was Newson. I guess he was considered to be in foul territory by Gary Johnson, so we're going to get to do that one all over again. We'll get some instant replay almost there, Alan.
And you got to look at the speed of Malarzouk there. Just as soon as he made contact, he was heading down to first base, and there really was no play for the catcher there, Darren Newson.
Big cut upstairs, 0-2. There's some great video circulating on social media. Vladislav Malarzouk facing Adam Folkert of the Hill United Chiefs in the undefeated game at the U.S. National Softball Championship, and it's about a minute-long video. And Malarzouk works Folkert, fouls a couple off, and then sends one absolutely moonward as, again, another passed ball here, and Newson has really got to get some focus and get into this ball game, because right now he is costing his team with his inability to catch the ball.
And that's got to be one you grab. Kirkpatrick, as we talked about, smart on the base pass. He doesn't need a whole lot to advance. There he got just a little bit, and all of a sudden, a single will score him.
Just missing again off that outside corner. Linton just can't find that range right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 runs already on the board for the New York Gremlins. Helped significantly by the Niagara Snappers.
And they certainly don't need any help.
This one's short hop, and Newson did a good job there. I just tore a bit of a strip off of him, but I got to give him some props there for staying in front of that one and keeping that ball from getting by him.
Good to see Malarzouk work the count, now full with 2 out.
And a little half swing, that's going to go out to left field. Settling under that is Casey Toes. That'll be the end of the inning, but the New York Gremlins score 2. They'll lead 2-0 after 1 complete here on the ISC Network.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Back here on the ISC Network at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. 1 complete inning, and it's a 2-0 lead for the New York Gremlins as the Niagara Snappers come back for their second turn at the dish. The story of that first inning, the Snappers' inability to close out the Gremlins when they have the opportunities to pick up some outs. An error allowed the base runners to advance, and the Gremlins cashed them in. They sit with a 2-0 lead here in the undefeated game on the winner's bracket. Major Kirkpatrick throwing for the Gremlins. He gets the second inning started. That pitch in for a ball on Brent Thompson. Thompson, a right-handed hitter, takes that one for a strike as the count evens 1-1. Good crowd filing in for Monday evening action. Off-speed pitch, slap to the left side of the infield. That one gets to left field. And Brent Thompson finds himself aboard with a single, which is good news for the Niagara Snappers, as they would love to put that first inning behind them and move forward in this game.
Well, perhaps they've got that out of their system. They see very good pitching on a regular basis in the Golden Horseshoe Fastball League. Adam Falker pitches in the league. They see Scott Wagger. They see Tom Berube. They see lots of good pitching night in, night out.
There, a sac bunt advances the runner from first. They thought they were going to have a play at second as Ochoa came up looking to throw, but by the time he realized it, Thompson was in at second, so he thought better just to keep that and get the out on the line.
Good base running. Jeez Louise. Good base running there by Brent Thompson. Ochoa quickly picked that up and tagged Newson. If Thompson is slow getting into second, they've got a shot at him, but hustling all the way.
Makes the coach's life a little easier to see that hustle. As we have an 0-1 count in here to Casey Toes. Batting seventh for the Snappers. Fouls that one to the right side.
Casey played in the JHFL for a number of years and then took a job out west for a couple and has made his way back to the Niagara region.
It's a game you really can't get away from permanently. In some capacity, it always comes back. As the count now 1-2 against Toes. Casey Toes looking to cash in Thompson from second. He's going to foul that one off.
If I'm Dan Edholm, I am now moving over to the other side.
That's been 2 or 3 at this at bat.
Exactly. Casey's been late on everything, and Edholm has been playing dodgeball over there. He's already 15 feet back from the traditional batter's box over the circle over there.
And this time, no foul tip as it goes cleanly into the mitt of Abreu, and 2 are away now for the Gremlins and Andrew Kirkpatrick. As stepping in will be Dan Edholm. Survived the at-bat from Casey Toes, and so he'll get it cracked at Andrew Kirkpatrick. First one in there, a little off the plate. 1-0 the count.
Kirkpatrick is so tough on left. He is so tall, and by the time he strides off the board, and he doesn't jump, he actually is traditional push and drag. But by the time he does that, he is outside that 8-foot circle, and he looks like he's basically just going to hand the ball to the catcher.
He's a throwback pitcher.
He is. He's one of the few. Travis Coons, who's here with the Kitchener Bell Cartage Outlaws, is similar. Traditional push and drag. There's not too many of them left.
A lot of them love that, I guess I'll call it new style, where it's all about the hop.
Yeah, I mean, that came into prevalence probably, I want to say, back in kind of the early 90s, and it's just about everybody does it these days.
Another swing and a miss. Evening things at 2-2. Edholm looking to cash in the base runner, Brent Thompson. Lays off that one. Count now full.
Well, getting one back right here would be great for the Snappers. It's only 2 runs, but cutting that deficit in half would be a big morale boost, I think, for Niagara right here.
Confidence in this game, such a big intangible. And when a team's got it, it can really change how they play in that first inning. We talked about it, how they struggled. There's no easy way to put it. I'm sure they would tell you the same thing. But if you can come out and get a run back, takes that first inning away, and starts to give you a little bit of pickup in your game. As going down swinging is Dan Edholm. Kirkpatrick records another strikeout. So far, he's got 5 of them to his name. And the Gremlins have a 2-0 lead over the Niagara Snappers. As we head to the bottom of the second, you are watching the ISC World Tournament from the Peter Hallman Ball-Yard on the ISC Network.
Jukasa Radio 93.5 FM, operating from the 6 nations of the Grand River Territory, is dedicated to the promotion of Indigenous culture, positive initiatives, language, and music to our youth. We offer a unique blend of top 40, hip-hop, R&B programming, and indigenous music. You can count on Jukasa Radio 93.5 FM to help your voice be heard. Our interactive call-in shows feature locally produced news, sports, health, current affairs, and social issues. Unique programming with an indigenous perspective. Listen live at jukasaradio.ca or download the Jukasa Radio app free from your app store.
Back for the bottom of the second inning, it'll be Zenon Winters, Brian Avery, and Nick Mullins, 7-8-9 for the New York Gremlins, looking to build on this 2-0 lead that they currently enjoy over the Niagara Snappers. Zenon Winters making the move from Australia up to Indonesia, where he is the head of the softball program for the country now of Indonesia, and looking to build on their fortunes and build them into a contender in the WBSC.
Always great to see other countries building their programs up, becoming into that elite group. When you can grow the game, it's always great to see it building worldwide.
Well, and it's great to see the top players continuing to give back to the game. And Ferdy Nelson was in here last night, new ISC Hall of Famer, talking about making contributions to the game, and Zenon Winters doing that in a number of fronts. Here's a 1-2 hopper out to Kevin Newhouse, and he'll easily flip that over to Dan Edholm at first, and a good start again for the Niagara Snappers, and we'll see if they're able to build a little bit of momentum of their own after getting Zenon Winters 4-3 on your scorecard. Brian Avery will step in. Avery, another national team player, this one for Team Canada. Did a lot of catching up in Whitehorse at last year's WBSC World Championship. Canada, of course, claiming bronze at the World Cup, what is now named the World Cup, not the color of medal that they were looking for or expecting. Upstairs from Linton. Avery, plenty of pop. Pull hitter for the most part from center right out to left. And again, this one floats right past Newsom. As I look at the lineup here that the Gremlins submitted, and Juan Podolicio was in the flex spot, and the Gremlins dropping down to 9 with Andrew Kirkpatrick, the designated player, becoming the starting pitcher here tonight. Every single one of the Gremlins players is a national team player for their country.
Right, top to bottom, which tells you the depth that they have. If you can get through the top half of the order, you still have to worry about the bottom half of the order. There's really no easy way out for any teams when you're facing the New York Gremlins, which is why they have the accolades they do.
Avery holds off from that Linton offering upstairs again. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, and again Linton throwing a lot of pitches here to the Gremlins, and everybody getting to see what Kyle Linton has got on offer tonight. This one hammered right back up the middle. Avery will make the turn at first and be content with a hard hit single. And when you go to 3-2 on good hitters, they're looking for a specific pitch in a specific zone. Brian Avery obviously got what he was waiting that entire at bat for and just drilled it right back where it came from.
Especially in a situation like this where the Snappers are already behind the 8 ball a little bit. The last thing you want to do is give a free bag to somebody, so you know he's going to be throwing you something in the strike zone. Avery ready, connected, drove it right to the center fielder, and now he's aboard.
Here's another guy who does a lot of catching for the national team, his national team. Avery was on the move. Nick Mullins flares this out to left field. Casey Toes, strong throw to first, and they almost get Brian Avery. A good strong throw there from Casey Toes. And Brian Avery was on the move. He got most of the way to second base before he was able to turn the ship around and get back to the bag.
He thought that ball was dropping in there for a hit, and as soon as he saw the catch, he was sprinting right back to first because that left fielder was coming up throwing. That's Casey Toes in the left field.
Greg Leather had the hit and run, or the run and hit, on, and almost paid off for the Gremlins. Just needed that one to drop. Back to the top of the shop, it's Matthew Waugh. Matthew down on strikes, his first trip last inning. And we'll see if Matthew Waugh has made the adjustments to the strike zone, but it doesn't appear to be the case.
He's still not happy with the way the balls and strikes are being called. As again, he gets into conversation with the umpire and settles back into the box.
Up and in from Linton.
No argument from that one.
There's no two-out catcher rule here in the ISC, so Brian Avery will be out on first running unless the Gremlins choose to make a substitution. And this one is belted deep right field. Away she goes over the grandstand, and Matthew Waugh doubles the Gremlin lead with a 2-run home run, bringing home Brian Avery. A no-doubter. Trevor Falk just turned to watch it go. The only question there was how far was it going to go. Matthew Waugh getting all of that one and then some.
You could tell just from the sound and the way the ball came off, it hit the sweet spot. Matthew Waugh just driving that one right to the bleachers in right center, I guess you would call it, right by the scoreboard here on Diamond 1. And they've now built up a comfortable lead to work from as they're up 4-0.
Jerome Remeke will step in. Jerome Remeke walked and scored back in the first inning. He's got plenty of pop in his bat as well. Dan Edholm a good 10-12 feet behind first base. No sign of any action in the Snappers bullpen at the moment, and I don't think Kyle Linton would want there to be any either. I know he's given up a couple here early, but Linton will relish this challenge to face this team.
He's the type of guy that gets into this mess. He wants to get out of it. Let him battle, let him work, and he'd tell you that.
Misses downstairs. And
come on, let's go to work. Push one more time.
long look in from Linton. Swing and a miss. Not sure if the scoreboard is frozen with the balls and strikes right now, Alan. It's been 2-2 and 2 out for a while.
We'll see what happens here as they, well, it moved there to a 3-2. And
okay, now ball 4 as down to first goes Remeke. So his second walk of the game. Kyle Linton not wanting to mess around right now with Jerome Remeke, but you go from the frying pan to the fire with Ben Anoka.
It's a case of pick your poison as Anoka comes in.
And really, you know, any of these three guys, Waugh, Remeke, Anoka, could be interchangeable in the batting order. Anoka has traditionally hit leadoff for most of the teams that he plays on, but he's got plenty of pop, able to deposit the ball over the fence on a moment's notice, so he is well suited to that 3 spot.
And we talked about it off the top of the broadcast where the Snappers have to keep it close. They're now in a situation where this could be make or break for them, and we're only in the second inning right now. If the Gremlins can cash in a couple here all of a sudden it goes from 4-0 to 6-0, and then you're playing catch up in a big way.
Well, Benny went for that one, but he got under it, skied a major league pop-up. Brent Thompson will reel that one in for the final out of the inning, but the Gremlins add on another 2. They'll make it 4-0 as we have played 2 complete. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. Coming back.
When you're in St. John's, Newfoundland, you're at home. And you're never more at home than when you're at Kelly's Pub, right on famous George Street. Traditional live music and some of the best fish and chips in the city are what you'll get at Kelly's. One of the top fastball sponsors in the country is right here in St. John's. Kelly's Pub, live music, great food, and friendly service. Right around the corner is 3 Cheers Pub, home of the 3-time Canadian national champions. 3 Cheers is downtown St. John's friendly pub. Affordable drinks and great staff with buckets all day, every day. 3 Cheers Pub is a proud fastball sponsor. Kelly's Pub and 3 Cheers Pub, come and make yourself at home.
Back here at the Peter Holman Ball Yard in Kitchener, Ontario. 2018 ISC World Tournament. Niagara Gremlins with a 4-0 lead over the Niagara Snappers as we head to the top of the 3rd inning. It will be the top of the order for the Snappers. Or rather, Newhouse.
Yeah, Newhouse the 9 batter, and then back up to the top. That's all right.
There.
No worries. You got it there. You're all good.
And he'll start off with a called strike. Kirkpatrick dealing it in there. Another called strike. No swing this time. Early on, Kirkpatrick up 0-2. This one outside, Newhouse getting to see what Kirkpatrick is all about. Settles himself in there, moved up a little bit in the box. Starting his swing early, got a piece of it that time.
Well, Niagara Snappers fans will recognize that. With 2 strikes, Kevin Newhouse goes to spread the hands and moves up in the box a little bit, gets a little lower in his stance. And you'll ask, well, why don't you just bat like that all the time if you have that kind of success with it? But it's just a mechanical thing.
And there he drives it up the middle. Good grab by the shortstop to first base, and it bounces out of the mitt of Ochoa. Otherwise, they would have had him.
Almost a great play there on both ends. A diving stop. I can't believe Mullins even got to that ball. He short hopped Ochoa on the throw, who tried to dig it out. Almost a great play on both ends. Just coming up a bit short. I'm giving Kevin Newhouse a hit because it took a spectacular play to almost get him.
Nick Mullins had to fully extend there in the dirt to come up with that one. Newhouse earning every inch of that one. And now the bunt on. Missing on it was Dobbin with his first crack. 0-1 now.
A little surprised to see a bunt on here in the 3rd inning, trailing 4-0. I have to believe he's thinking about doing that for a base hit.
The Snappers have some speed, so it would not shock me. But you are right, it's a 4-0 game, so 1 run's not going to create a whole lot of difference. But he's going to take that one and drive it to left field. This one back, and clears the fence. A 2-run home run for Peter Dobbin. And in the blink of an eye, they've split the deficit in half and given themselves some life.
Well, that's how quickly momentum can change in this game. Peter Dobbin going opposite field off of Andrew Kirkpatrick. And I'll be honest with you, Andrew Kirkpatrick looks a little bit surprised, perhaps bemused, that he just gave up a 2-run home run to the opposite field to a guy who was showing bunt on the first 2 pitches. But the Niagara Snappers, right back in this one, now down only 4-2.
And we'll see if the confidence can build for them, because now you've got a couple runs. You know that Kirkpatrick is hittable. He comes in with a reputation of being one of the top arms in this tournament. But you've got a 2-run home run off him, and we'll see if the Snappers can build off of it as James Darby takes a turn, held on that swing. And he's ahead 2-0. There's a swing and a miss as it goes right through the mitt of the Gremlins' Brian Avery.
Well, it looked like James Darby was trying to hit another 2-run home run with the bases empty with that swing.
Sometimes you'll see that happen. They get, I don't know if you call it hititis or something, but they see one home run and then the next guy comes in thinking that he can swing for the fences as well. But now you find yourself in an even count, have to shorten up that swing. Now a full count to James Darby.
Well, and he's got plenty of pop in the bat. And with the speed that Andrew Kirkpatrick throws, you really just need to meet it, and there'll be lots of exit velocity.
But that discussion is all for naught as Darby takes a seat. Another K for Andrew Kirkpatrick, and he will welcome in Trevor Falk, who had a first inning single to give the Snappers their first base runner and hit of the evening.
Well, the Snappers have had runners every inning. It's not like they're being just overwhelmed here by Kirkpatrick. But that was the first time with the Dobbin hit that they had put two together. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to bunch the hits together, take advantage of the opportunities when they arise.
And here's a little squibbler down the third baseline, and it's grabbed by Remeke.
Well, off the foot of Trevor Falk in the box. He was doing a bit of the chicken dance hop there in the box.
And so, of course, that'll be a dead ball. And he'll have to go back and try his luck again with an 0-2 count. One away here at the 2018 ISC World Tournament winners bracket. Kirkpatrick with an 0-2 pitch that is called for a ball.
Not far off the outside corner. That
I think he thought it was good.
Yeah, some courage to take that pitch with 2 strikes.
And there's a slap from Trevor Falk, goes to right center, and the right fielder Zenon Winters grabs that one for the fly out. Now 2 away here in the top of the third inning. A strikeout and a fly out are the 2 so far. And now we'll get Scott Young, who steps in. Struck out to end the first inning, his first at bat. This one bounced in by Kirkpatrick. Young about at the midway point in the batter's box, swings and turns on that one, missed it, 1-1.
Come on, Dogger. Come on, come on.
Another one in there, this time for a called strike on the outside corner. Didn't look much different than the one he threw in the last at-bat. This time he gets the call, though. And you'll see that sometimes. Looks like the exact same pitch. Different results. That one fouled away. Young still alive in his second at-bat. Snappers out hitting the Gremlins right now. But in the run department, that's the one that matters as Scott Young swings and misses and goes down for another strikeout. Kirkpatrick wheeling and dealing for the Gremlins. They've got a 4-2 lead after 2.5 innings. We'll head to the bottom of the third with the Gremlins due up. You're watching the 2018 ISC World Tournament on the ISC Network.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3, and the Kitchener River Shark Twins repeat. Back to back, yes! It's the local kid who wins it.
Swing and a miss. Jarvis, 3 peats. Adam Falker, absolutely.
Here comes the throw to the plate. Are the world champions.
2015 ISC Men's World Champions.
Shane Bowen has hit the game-winning home run, and the Toronto Gators are world champions.
Physically, it's Adam on the first, and the
Andrew Kirkpatrick to lead things off for the New York Gremlins here in the home half of the third inning. And Alan, we were just saying offline, we weren't sure who was more surprised, Peter Dobbin or Andrew Kirkpatrick at that 2-run home run. It looked like Dobbin just kind of ran into that one in opposite field, but here we are, 4-2 as the Snappers put 2 on the board, but the Gremlins have been putting 2 on the board every inning.
And you talked about it in that last inning, how sometimes you don't need a big swing to put a pitch from Andrew Kirkpatrick out. You just need to meet it and let the ball's force do the work. And I think that was the case there. Dobbin got a piece of it, and Kirkpatrick kind of looked like, really, that is the pitch you're sending out of the park?
Dobbin going to get some sunglasses as the sun's setting in the west, a little hard on the left side of the infield, and outfield right now actually shading his eyes out there is left fielder Casey Toes, as that sun will be probably about another half hour setting before we get into the sunset area. Linton skips this one to the screen.
And if you're manning the hot corner, you definitely want to be able to see what's coming your way, because guys like Kirkpatrick can rip it right down the line.
Yeah, they hit it pretty hard. You don't want to be guessing where it might go out there. There's a called strike in the outside corner. So 2 balls, 1 strike. Linton has spent a lot of time pitching from behind tonight, and we didn't talk about that off the top. But of course, you could say that every game. If you want to have success, pitch ahead. Upstairs, 3-1.
If you look at the batters he's faced, often 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3 balls, 1 strike. A lot of pitches being thrown by Kyle Linton so far in this game, and we're in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Ball 4, leadoff walk. Joe Todd will tell us that leadoff walks come around to score about 66% of the time. We'll see if that proves correct here or not. And they will utilize a runner now for Andrew Kirkpatrick, his 2nd time on base. As out comes
Blaine Milheim will be the pinch runner.
Well spotted.
Give Kirkpatrick a little bit of a rest.
That's exactly what this is all about here in the 3rd inning. And especially with nobody out. You don't know how long this inning can go. You don't want Kirkpatrick standing out there having to hustle around the bases or sliding into bases or anything like that.
I was going to say, a pitcher of his ability is the last thing you want is him sliding into one of the bags and maybe scuffing up his hands.
Well, it is... You won't ever see a pitcher die sliding into a base or anything like that, but it certainly could happen if you're trailing a hand on a slide. Ochoa with a giant rip right there, trying to put another 2 runs on the board for the Gremlins, but coming up empty. Eric Ochoa, plenty of pop in the bat as well, a Mexican national team player who has actually moved on and played with Team USA at the most recent international competition, whether it's dual citizenship or whether he's moved into the U.S., but able to play for Team USA. A great pickup for the Americans. They'll be competing not only in the Intercontinental Cup a little bit later this month, actually, over in the Czech Republic. That'll be a test event for next year's World Cup. There's 8 teams going over to Prague in the Czech Republic. The Americans will be there. The New Zealand Black Sox are sending over a team, as is Argentina. I believe Japan is going. Of course, the Czech Republic will be there. Team Canada will not be in attendance because the event overlaps with the Canadian men's nationals. Ochoa with that bat in the single hand held up there steadily. Looks at an offering again just off the outside corner.
And again, we see the count come to 3 balls for Kyle Linton. Another at-bat where he's had to throw a bunch of pitches.
And this one is lace caught. Brent Thompson hits the base runner who was going to be declared out for interference, and the Snappers will get the double play as Milheim is being called out for interfering with the throw to first. He was going to be DOA as Brent Thompson flashing the leather, and a great play there by the Snappers shortstop. Greg Leather out to discuss this with our first base umpire. Rob Straitman is explaining to Greg Leather and to Var Matosian right now that Milheim got right into the way of the throw, and the obligation on the runner is not to interfere with or obstruct the defensive play. And that indeed is what is being called. Var Matosian, I'm sure, who will be joining us, I think, coming up at 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure he'll have more to say about that. We'll have to ask him to tame it down a little, I'm sure.
On that one, it's a case of, do you want him out for the interference, or do you want to let them throw him out at first, because he was all the way there. That was a rope hit to the shortstop. Made no mistake to grab that one. He came up throwing right away.
Called strike on Maller-Zook. And this is the great thing about Ladislav Maller-Zook. He can play the small game. He's got plenty of wheels, but he's also got plenty of pop as well, as we were talking about earlier, that big home run in the USA Nationals there last week in the losers bracket game. There's a slap, 1-2 hopper, quick throw. You got to be quick. Newhouse gets Maller-Zook. And perhaps here, Alan, some momentum switching. The Snappers have a relatively clean inning. They get effectively the double play. They're out. And now see if they can come to the plate and build on that. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. We'll see what comes next.
A legendary pitcher. Unbreakable records.
That's got a mile. Goes a mile high to the wall, to the track. Saved by baseball. And that ball's lifted up and going back to left field. What a great grab. Off speed is deep, and you can get out of this ballpark.
5 Hall of Famers. 3 World Championships.
And that ball is driven out deep.
Hit from Blackard is driven deep. Shane Boland to the fence. It's gone. Shane Boland has hit the game-winning home run.
The Toronto Gators, gone but not forgotten.
Into the top of the 4th inning, we move here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard. The Gremlins with a 4-2 lead over the Niagara Snappers, who will send Thompson, Newson, and Toes to the plate to start off the 4th. Last time they were up, they got themselves on the board, Blair.
Yeah, Peter Dobbin with that 2-run home run. And, we were talking off air about just how quickly things can change. And not only with that 2-run home run, but that outstanding defensive play by Brent Thompson. And then a little bit of fortune, the ball hitting the runner, but called with the obstruction play, or the interference play, I guess it is. And that's the breaks for the Snappers. Now you got to build on that momentum and see if you can capitalize on that.
And I touched on it earlier, confidence, such a big thing in the game. So they get that home run from Peter Dobbin, 2 runs, they half the deficit, and they have an inning like we just saw where they're able to turn a double play, get out of some trouble. It bodes well for them moving forward, especially after the start that they had.
Well, Brent Thompson didn't do himself any favors chasing that pitch up and out of the zone. And you don't often see Brent Thompson do that. Usually very disciplined eye at the plate, but strike 3 from Andrew Kirkpatrick is up and out of the zone where a rise ball should be.
He comes right back with another strike to start off the count to Darren Newson, who had a sacrifice bunt his first at-bat. Moved Brent Thompson over to second. This time he's going to get one in on the hands and pop it up just past second base as he will fly out. And just like that, we have 2 away here in the top of the 4th inning. Andrew Kirkpatrick using his magic to get some help from his fielders.
Well, there's nothing like shutting down a team that looked like maybe they had some momentum on their side, and Kirkpatrick, for the first 2 batters at least, making short work of the Snappers here.
Casey Toes with a strikeout. Way back in the 2nd inning. 4 pitches is what he saw. Right now he'll start out ahead. 1 ball, no strikes. That changes with that pitch. Evens things 1-1 as Kirkpatrick heads back to the circle. Toes takes a bit of a break. Now gets back into the box. comes Kirkpatrick in a nasty looking pitch as he tied toes up in a knot trying to find that one. Now 1-2. Gremlins looking to stop the momentum. There is strike 3, and that does it for the top of the 4th inning. They go down in order: a strikeout, a flyout, and then a strikeout to end things as the Gremlins remain up 4-2 here in the 4th inning. We'll step aside and come back with the bottom half of the inning. You're watching the 2018 ISC Worlds on the ISC Network.
If a man runs for president, interviews for a high-level job, or needs a good table at a smart restaurant, chances are he'll be wearing a suit. Mr. Ned is your custom tailor in New York City. Located at 137 Fifth Avenue, we provide our clients with the highest quality custom suits at affordable pricing. Our range of fabrics is second to none and will fit the needs of any well-dressed professional. Whether it be everyday business attire or a special occasion, we have the ability to make you a man of distinction. Visit the store at 137 Fifth Avenue in New York or see us online at MrNedNYC.com. We thank Mr. Ned and Varn Matosian for generously supporting the broadcast program.
Back here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard, bottom of the 4th underway as Kyle Linton throws that one in for a strike.
And Alan, we've got a special guest here in the booth, Lori Cook-Baird, who was one of the forerunners in women's fast-pitch softball on the U.S. national team before the program was in the Olympics. Lori, you pitched in California for several years. It's your first visit to the ISC World Tournament. Tell me what you think.
No, it's not my first visit. No, I was in Grand Rapids last year.
Okay, so
Yeah.
second. And so your impressions, you're telling me that you're seeing both Kyle Linton and Andrew Kirkpatrick for the first time. You do pitching clinics. You just did one down the road in Ingersoll. I understand. We'll get you to talk about that a little bit. But your impressions, just very quickly, first hot takes on Kyle Linton and Andrew Kirkpatrick here tonight.
Both really strong gentlemen. Impressed with both of their abilities to locate the ball. They both have really good spin on the ball as well. Kirkpatrick does a good job of getting them down and out, and then he goes up and in. I think they're doing a good job, both of them.
Linton here working to Zenon Winters, who went hard after that pitch. You just talked about the importance of spin, and for those who follow Lori on Facebook, you do a lot of that in your pitching lessons and the instruction that you offer, the importance of the spin on the ball, the 12-6 to spin, the 3-6 spin.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things that I think is really important, not only changing speeds and being able to locate the ball, but to actually have true spin on the ball. As a science professor, I try to teach the importance of making sure that the ball either has top spin, 12-6 top spin, or 6-12 back spin, and or curve spin. And here at
this one is punched out to center field. Going back and reaching up and making a good grab is Scott Young to take away what would have been a double and perhaps a home run from Zenon Winters. That ball on a line all the way out to about 248 feet, I want to say, as Scott Young right in front of the fence reels that one in for the first out of the inning.
Great grab there from Scott Young, and he was positioned perfectly, knew Winters' capabilities, set himself up accordingly, and comes up with the out.
So just to finish the thought on the importance of spin in making sure that you're finishing the pitch properly too.
Importantly, that the spin is actually on its true axis, that a drop ball is actually spinning on its true axis, on a 12 to 6 axis, and a rise ball is actually spinning backwards, and a curve ball is actually spinning sideways. And here at ISCs, we don't see bullet spin, which is something I'm seeing really dominate the ladies' game. A lot of bullet spin, which turns into a lot of home runs. So as you can see, both of these gentlemen are keeping the ball down and changing speeds, and if they get ahead in the count, they'll go up. But they're predominantly keeping the ball down and trying to locate it further and further out.
One of the things that I think is really important too, and I'm not a pitcher, but one thing that you just mentioned is changing speeds, not throwing the same pitch twice at the same speed, but being able to vary what you bring to the plate.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I do at my pitching workshops is I demonstrate for the students that with using a rev fire, which measures both miles per hour and revolutions per second, I'm able to demonstrate to them that I can remove from any pitch, be it a drop, curve, or a rise, increments of even 1 mile per hour. I let the girls call it out. Take off 10, take off 4, add 3, add 5 miles per hour, so that they can see that it's possible to change speed and without losing spin or rotations per second. I can keep the rotations up in the mid to high 20s, but change speed and also change break. I can throw a curveball that doesn't break, or I can throw one that does break. So you can actually play with the batter in that way. It's all about upsetting their timing.
Nick Mullins, who flied out to left field his last trip and almost resulting in a double play, as Brian Avery is aboard on the walk. You did a clinic for some young players in Ingersoll, Ontario on your way here to Kitchener. How was that attended, and what's the age of the kids that are coming out?
Oh, that was fantastic. I had 8 to 12-year-olds, and I had a group come all the way from Montreal, Quebec, actually. So there was a translator there that was able to help me. Softball is a universal language, so I mostly used my body to speak to them.
This one is fouled down the left side. A bit of a collision out there, but a catch made nonetheless, and a good grab out there by the shortstop, Brent Thompson, and then tumbling over the top of Casey Toes. Brent Thompson shaking that one off, but able to get the ball back in too, importantly, as Brian Avery had a thought about advancing up to second base. But some good defense there by Brent Thompson, who showed us a good glove a couple of plays now after that early error.
And he was the one that got the double play in the last inning there. The line right to his mitt, grabbed it, and then fired the rocket to first base. Unfortunately for him, hit the runner, but they called him on the obstruction, still got the out, and that's what's important at the end of the day, as we're going to have time called.
Jay Paylove, the coach of the Snappers, will make his way out to have a conversation with Kyle Linton and the rest of the team. We're talking with Lori Cook-Baird about pitching and the importance of spins and rotation. As kids develop, what is the best way to work on pitching? Is it one pitch at a time?
Absolutely. What I'm seeing in the States is that the girls are actually trying to move too quickly and get a large number of pitches that don't work, as opposed to just gathering one pitch at a time and making sure that they, by the time they're ready for college, have 3 pitches that work really well. So one of the things I stress is that they want to start out with a nice 12 to 6 drop ball spin, work on that, master it, make sure that you have really good location, and then learn a really good change-up. And after that, you can begin working on your backspin, which is a difficult pitch to master. It takes anywhere from 9 months to 2 years. And if you have time, which most girls don't, then you can begin working on a 4th pitch. But like the great Cindy Bristow says, she's never called anyone's 4th best pitch.
Very interesting, and you see a lot of this kind of thing online with talk about 5-6 different pitches. We just watched Adam Falkard in the last game with the Hill United Chiefs, who is the best pitcher in the world, the best men's pitcher in the world. Absolutely. At least, and he throws predominantly a drop ball. He'll throw a rise ball. Adam's got a bit of a curve and a bit of a changeup that he's been working on over the years, but really Adam mixes speed. You don't notice from up here because it's really kind of relative where he'll go from 82 to 78 maybe. But it is just enough to throw off the timing a little bit. But he predominantly throws the rise ball and the drop ball, and mostly the drop.
Right. I have spoken with Adam, and one of the pitches that I feel he's most effective at is his low rise. He can hit that and bring that in at the knees, and it looks just like his drop ball. It's just spinning the other direction, and I'm seeing that be very effective here at this tournament.
Hammered by Matty Waugh. Going coast to coast is Brian Avery, as Matty Waugh has hit the ball hard twice here in succession. Past a diving Kevin Newhouse, and now runners on the corners for the New York Gremlins as they threaten again here in the fourth, leading 4-2, and trying to capitalize and build that 4-run cushion to get back to that 4-run cushion. On the hitting side of things, I mean, as a pitching instructor, obviously you see a lot of batters and things as well. What are some of the things that you're seeing here this week from some of the top men's hitters in the men's game?
They're smart. They're going after the first pitch they see that's hittable, that they can take hard and far. They're not taking a lot of pitches, and they have a really good sense of the strike zone. They're not swinging at a lot of balls, so they're very, very picky. They're laying off the rise ball. They're not chasing a whole bunch. And I just noticed for the team that's out in the field right now that they were shortening up on what's his name?
On Kirkpatrick.
Kirkpatrick, yeah. They were shortening up, choking up, shortening up, doing whatever they can to get the bat on the ball and get the ball in play. So I thought that was some smart hitting. So disciplined batters, strong hitters. I see that they're hitting the top third of the ball on rise balls, and they're hitting the bottom third of the ball on drop balls. So I'm seeing them adjust to the spins that are coming in and reading the spins really well and laying off of the spins that they know are going to break out of the strike zone.
As a pitcher and catcher combination, how do you work with your pitchers, and what can you give to pitchers about making the adjustments game to game and inning to inning and intra game, because it's always a game of adjustments?
Absolutely. I believe passionately in the battery, and I do wish in the women's game that the catchers did call the games, and unfortunately they're not. The coaches are still controlling the games, although 20 years ago we were calling the games. I believe that it's really important, and I teach my pitchers that it's really important that they figure out what the umpire's strike zone is early on and gain that umpire's confidence. And once they gain that umpire's confidence and show that umpire that they can paint the corners in that first inning, then they can gradually creep that ball out further and further and see how far they can stretch that umpire's strike zone.
Adam Folkert is a master at expanding the strike zone. We see it early in games. Adam will paint the corner, and then he'll move the ball out a half an inch. As this one is flared up by Remeke. Peter Dobbin will track that down just out onto the grass and end the threat here by the New York Gremlins as they strand a pair. We will head to the top of the fifth coming up for the Niagara Snappers. I want to thank Lori Cook-Baird for joining us here in the booth. I learned a lot. Alan, hope you learned a lot, and I hope those who were joining us here on the ISC network learned a lot as well. It's not always about how hard you throw, but it's about the proper spin, and as always, location, 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 and the ability to change speeds.
Absolutely.
And adjust on the batters.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really honored.
Lori, thank you. We really appreciate it. Stay with us here on the ISC network. We will come back in a minute.
The annual Boys of Summer tournament is held every July at Circle Tap Bar and Grill in Denmark, Wisconsin. We host some of the top teams in the game at one of the best venues in softball. The atmosphere of old-time fast pitch with all of the amenities of a full-service bar and grill on the grounds can't be beat. Reduced rate hotels about 10 minutes from the park are available in Green Bay. To bring your team to the annual Boys of Summer tournament next July, contact Dean Kane at ct16@greenbaynet.com. Thanks to Circle Tap for their support of the broadcast program.
Come on, Danny. Come on, guys. Let's go. Come on, boys. Go. Attaboy. Not you. Come on. Attaboy. Come on. A better wiggle there. Come on.
Back here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard, top of the 5th inning, 0-2 count. Kirkpatrick working ahead. As Ed Holm works in the batter's box, trying to get something going for the Snappers. They find themselves down 2 runs. The Gremlins holding a 4-2 edge. Another one in there on the outside corner. 2-2 now is what the count sits. Ed Holm readies himself. Kirkpatrick delivers, slapped on by Ed Holm. Kirkpatrick's going to take that himself, and they get the put out at first base. Mark that as 1-3.
Well, 1-4 by Mallard-Zook is Ochoa had actually come in to see if he could grab that one. And
yes,
Mallard-Zook did a good job to cover. Because Ed Holm danced around Ochoa, but wisely covering is Mallard-Zook. And, you know, it's not always just about pounding the ball. People forget how good the Gremlins are defensively, too.
And that's why it's so important that young players watch this, pay attention to the details, because you saw Mallard-Zook cover up. That's why they teach you to cover certain positions. In situations like that, you don't have a guy sneaking onto base because you've got someone there to get the out. As we move on to Kevin Newhouse. His last at bat resulted in him being brought around off of the Peter Dobbin home run. He's going to slap that one, but it's on the right side of the first baseline, so foul as the count moves to 1-2.
Just out of your frame in the Niagara Snappers bullpen, James Darby is working.
Swing and a miss for Kevin Newhouse this time, as he will pick up a K, and that brings about the second out of the inning, as Kirkpatrick continues to be effective in the circle for the New York Gremlins. Interesting to have Laurie in, explaining all the physics of pitching and the rotation.
Well, for those who don't follow Laurie Cook-Baird on Facebook and her pitching instruction, you should. She knows more about pitching than just about anybody that I have come across in the game, and I think she does a great job of explaining the basics of it. Laurie's also a science teacher, and she was one of the guests that I wanted to get up here this week, and I'm glad that we got the opportunity because unlike a lot of people, she's taken an interest in the men's side of the game and recognizes the quality in the men's game, and people like Andrew Kirkpatrick, Kyle Linton, who are amongst the top throwers out here, but the differences in the styles and what they do bring.
And it was interesting to hear her talk about the spin and how you can take revolutions off but not miles per hour off, or you can take miles per hour off and not revolutions. And when you break it down like that, it allows you to see why a pitcher like Andrew Kirkpatrick is so effective in the way he goes about his business, as he throws another rise ball in there, and it's right over the shoulders, missing the bat of Peter Dobbin, and they go down 1-2-3. The Snappers do. Another effective inning for Andrew Kirkpatrick, and that'll move us to the bottom of 5. The Gremlins still on top 4-2 as we watch the 2018 ISC World Tournament on the ISC Network.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City, or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com. Thanks to Jose and Peligro Sports for their support of the broadcast program.
For all your team uniform and equipment needs, fastball, slow pitch, and hockey, for players and teams, make sure you visit Corbett's Source for Sports on the South Service Road in Oakville, Ontario. There's a lot of deals to be had on all kinds of equipment. Thank you to Paul Hurd and Corbett's Source for Sports for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
Back here at the Peter Holman Ball in Kitchener, Ontario, site of the 2018 ISC World Tournament. The New York Gremlins on top of the Niagara Snappers 4-2. Bottom of the 5th inning, and we're going to see a pitching change for the Niagara Snappers as James Darby is going to toe the rubber now. He was in as the designated player. He now will take over as the pitcher. And his first pitch is a bouncer in there, and it might have caught home plate umpire
Gary Johnson out of Minnesota, and that would be 2 consecutive umpires in a row taking some tough pitches here tonight. Lou Davis, you just see Lou walking right across in front of home plate. Lou was the home plate umpire in the previous game, took an Adam Falkard pitch off the head and was cut and was bleeding rather profusely, to be frank. Lou declined to go to the hospital, back to the umpire's room, got checked out. I'm sure he's got a bandage on his head underneath that hat. But Brandon Bloom, who was scheduled to be the third base umpire in this game, came on to finish the game for Lou, but right back out here, a trooper, Lou Davis, and I salute you, Lou, for your sturdiness.
Second pitch from Darby in there for a called strike. So we've seen a ball and a strike from James Darby.
Darby, originally from Australia, out to Great Britain, and one of the harder throwers around. The thing with James Darby has always been control. He might walk 3 guys in an inning to load the bases and then strike the next 3 guys out. He throws very hard. But and that has been the problem. As you were saying,
Blair.
That right there is James Darby in a nutshell. He blazed the last pitch past Vananoka, and then one hops and hits him in the ankle.
And the first pitch he threw was a bouncer in for a ball as well. So you saw a little bit of everything from James Darby as he looks to keep this close for the Snappers. I don't think Vananoka is the person you want on first base as you try to keep a game close, though.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't thrilled to get hit in the lower leg there by that offering from James Darby either. Vananoka, of course, extraordinarily quick and very, very long strides. When Vananoka is in motion, it's only about 4 or 5 strides for him to cover the base paths. I was always astounded by how quickly, especially going first to third, how quickly Benny would arrive at third base.
Kirkpatrick hoping he's got a chance for us to see that display of first to third here as he sees another ball.
Andrew is 2 for 2.
There, a little check swing, puts the ball in action, advances Anoka to second, sacrifices himself at first. Anoka to scoring position, first out of the inning is Kirkpatrick on that half swing. As we move now to Ochoa, 4-2, Gremlins on top. We are in the bottom of the 5th inning here in the winner's bracket of the 2018 ISC World Tournament. Alan Atmansky along with Blair Setford. That pitch just misses on the outside corner. Ochoa holding his swing. There, Darby whips one in there. Again, missing the strike zone, though.
Let's go, Chewy. Come on, Darbs. Come on, JD.
Choa readies himself. And that one a bit wild. Will advance Anoka to third. And hit by a pitch. First base has come all the way around to third. He's now looking at a 5th run for the Gremlins as Ochoa hoping that he can pick up an RBI. There, swung on and missed. Count even at 2s.
Ochoa hit that line shot right into the glove of Brent Thompson his last trip, and that resulted in a double play. I want to correct the location for Gary Johnson. My good friend Jerry Betts writes in to tell me that Gary is actually from Wisconsin, not Minnesota. I was told Minnesota earlier in the week, so I'm going to plead a bit on that one. But thanks to Jerry Betts, and thanks for joining us here on the ISC Network this week. Miss you and Mike.
And, of course, Wisconsin, the host of the 2019 tournament.
Yeah, we will see Jerry and Mike up close and in person next year in Denmark, Wisconsin, the home of Circle Tap. And I'll tell you, Alan, I am really looking forward to the opportunity to see up close and personal the park at the Circle Tap Bar and Grill.
I have heard that the renovations that they have done are spectacular. I was talking to Paul Rosebush on, it would have been Sunday, and he said that the park looks great, everything that they've done, and they aren't done yet. They still have other plans for it.
Yeah, lots of renovations have been going on, not only at the Circle Tap Diamond, but also at the Maribel, I believe it is, fields in town. I stand to be corrected on some of the geography. Here we have Campbell Anoka trotting across your screen and out to first base. Campbell, the younger brother of Ben and Thomas, and he will go run for Eric Ochoa.
And we're going to have a little bit of a huddle at the pitcher circle, and Darby trying to collect himself.
Not bad when you can bring in a pinch runner in Campbell Anoka, who is a starter on the New Zealand Black Sox.
Not bad at all. You don't lose a whole lot in that situation.
Well, the first guy off your bench and the 10th guy in your lineup is also a national team player. We talked about all the starters on the Gremlins being national team players. Campbell Anoka is as well.
That one put in play by Malar-Zook, and he races down to the first base, but the ball beats him there, and the Snappers pick up a big out.
Ground out RBI for Malar-Zook, but you just saw some defensive brilliance there from Brent Thompson, picking up that ball on the short hop, the quick transfer, and a good strong throw to Ed Holm at first to just get Malar-Zook, who runs very, very well. But it does score a run as Ben Anoka comes around to score, so that hit by pitch comes back to bite the Snappers. Up to second base goes Campbell Anoka, and an RBI ground out for Malar-Zook.
Talking about free passes, way back in the first inning, we saw a walk come around to score. This inning, it's a hit by pitch, so there's 2 runs that could have been prevented without even talking about a hit.
Yeah, the self-inflicted wounds here by the Snappers, if they go on to lose this one, they will look back and rue what might have been, because there was an opportunity here for the Snappers for this game to be potentially only a 3-2 game. I think, 2 of these runs are unearned.
And they're slapped to the second baseman. It goes off his mitt, and around third base comes Campbell Anoka, and it's going to be a 6-2 Gremlins lead, as up to second goes Zenon Winters, and it just keeps pouring on for the Gremlins.
Well, Zenon Winters hit that ball exactly where he wanted to hit it, and it was only a diving play by Kevin Newhouse that kept it on the infield. He was looking to hit that ball into what we call the 3.5 hole between the first baseman and the second baseman. And that's the type of hitter that Zenon Winters is, able to place the ball where and when he wants it. And another RBI here for the big man.
Darby up high and away with his first offering to Abry. who laid off that one.
This one now threatening to get away from the Niagara Snappers. 6-2 lead for the New York Gremlins.
Another one up from Darby as he shakes his head a little.
At 4-2, you felt like this was still a game that the Snappers were in. At 6-2, to me, it feels like it's slipping away a little bit here.
It's quickly slipping away.
And we talked about early, Alan, you mentioned that you wanted to stay away from the big innings. The Gremlins put up 2 in the first, 2 again in the second. They put up 2 here in the fifth, and threatening to add to it.
Avery lays off that one, much to the dismay of James Darby, and it's now a 3-0 count. Logic would say that Avery's going to take that one, and he does. 3-1. It's not often you see a batter swing at a 3-0 offering. Darby trying to battle back in this one. He's going to lose Avery on that pitch, and it's another free pass for the New York Gremlins.
2 walks and a hit by pitch, and this has been the story for James Darby.
Six walks in this game so far for the Snappers, as well as a hit by pitch. So let's see 7 free bags.
And let's not discount the free real estate that has been offered up as well with pass balls and wild pitches. You just saw it there. 2 guys move up an extra 60 feet, and now you've got 2 runners in scoring position for Nick Mullins. A single scores 2 relatively easy.
And another one up from Darby, counted as a ball. Another one out, or inside rather, misses. As Mullins does a little jig in the batter's box to get out of the way of that pitch. A whole lot of strikes being thrown by James Darby right now. Comes back with another one. And there he gets a strike to help his cause. 3-1 the count. You wonder if Mullins is sitting on something here. Darby looks in, gets the sign, comes back, and again he loses Mullins with another pitch. So make that walk number 7 for the Snappers. And they're back to the top of the order again.
But more importantly, that's 3 walks plus the hit by pitch this inning, and now the bases are loaded for the guy who perhaps is hitting the ball as hard as anybody for the New York Gremlins tonight, Matty Waugh. The big line drive home run back in the second inning, and then drilled a ball again in the fourth. I guess the only thing you could really say right now here, Alan, is you don't want to dig in too much against James Darby because you're not sure, and I don't think he's really sure where it's going.
No, you see the batters, they get in there, and then they start digging in, and they rethink things as we see that one go wide outside. Matthew Waugh led this game off with a strikeout. From there, he figured out what the umpire's strike zone was and picked up a home run, picked up a single. 2 RBIs for him so far. And he's got a count that favors him now. 2 balls, 1 strike. Has a good set of eyes in the batter's box. That's why he's in the leadoff spot. And he didn't miss that by much. Out in front of it, sends it foul. 2-2.
Come on, JD. Come on, when to get here, boys. Any pillow.
Snappers really need to limit the damage here if they've got any kind of hope of a comeback here tonight. They need to keep this just to a 2-run inning.
Darby way out to the left. Caught by Darren Newson. He didn't know he had it in him, though.
Oh, that was a bit of a surprise pickup. It was a nice pickup by Newson, but thought it had got by him.
Again, the count full. James Darby versus Matthew Waugh. Darby with the offering. Comes in wide outside. The ball gets away from Newson and from third.
Ball 4 to Matthew Waugh. And Zenon Winters, who thought he was going to score on the pass ball, got to within 2 steps of home plate and realized, oh, I can just tiptoe the rest of the way.
I think maybe he thought that was going to rattle around a little more and somebody else was going to come behind him, but only the 1 run off that walk. And again, the bases remain loaded. Stepping in is Jerome Remeke. Had a fly out his last at bat. Other than that, 2 walks for Remeke. Darby starts him off with a strike. 2 out for the Snappers, so they are within reach of getting out of this inning. As Remeke chops that one into foul territory, first base side. They get the put out by Edholm, and that will end the threat from the New York Gremlins, but not without adding a couple in that inning. A hit by pitch. Ben Anoka comes around to score, and a single from Zenon Winters turns into another run as they add 2 and now lead 7-2. The Gremlins on top of the Niagara Snappers as we head to our break. You're watching the 2018 ISC World Tournament on the ISC Network.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3, and the Kitchener River Shark Twins repeat. Back-to-back Jets! It's the local kid who wins it.
Swing and a miss. Jarvis. 3-peats.
Adam Falter, absolutely.
Here comes the throw to the plate. Are the world champions.
2015 ISC Men's World Champions.
Shane Bowen has hit the game-winning home run, and the Toronto Gators are world champions.
Fittingly, it's out on the first, and the United Chiefs back to the top of the mountain.
ISC Canada East, home of champions.
Back here at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard, top of the 6th inning, the Gremlins in control with a 7-2 lead over the Niagara Snappers. Snappers add a pair in the 5th. A hit by pitch and a single turn into runs for the Gremlins as they extend their 5-2 lead to a 7-2-1. Kirkpatrick still pitching for the Gremlins, and that first one is fouled away.
Well, with that said, there is some action down in the Gremlins bullpen. I see Juan Podolicio is up and throwing. I'm not sure whether he's just getting loose by getting some work in tonight because Kirkpatrick seemingly has this one in control. The Snappers have been able to put some base runners on early, and Peter Dobbin ran into one to collect a 2-run home run. But over the last couple of innings, it seems like Kirkpatrick has turned up the wick a little bit and has picked up 4 strikeouts out of the 6 outs in the last 2 innings and really has kind of got this one on cruise control now with a 5-run lead.
And he's not really giving them anything to hit right now. Darby doing a guessing game in the batter's box. There's another one from Kirkpatrick. Is in for a ball. So a full count to James Darby. He would love to help his side out with some offense. And he's going to get a chance to, as he'll get the free pass down to first base.
Well, a good bit of discipline there by James Darby because I thought his last at bat he kind of chased a little bit but works a walk, a leadoff walk, and we'll see if the Snappers can try and capitalize. Looks like we're getting a pinch runner down there for Darby as Coach Jay Paylove. You see Jay down at the bottom of your frame, the right side of your frame at least, talking with Trevor Falk, and Gary Johnson looks like he's over going to make a change, and there is a pinch runner at first, and I just need him to turn around so we can see who it is.
I believe, just going over my score sheet quickly, that's the first free pass offered by Andrew Kirkpatrick this evening.
Yeah, Kirkpatrick doesn't give up many walks at all.
Trevor Falk, a single and a fly out. There he puts it in play just to the left of the pitcher circle. Ochoa smartly, alertly throws it back to second, and he catches James Darby. Well, our pinch runner for James Darby. We still haven't got a number yet.
And he doesn't have a number on that jersey, so I can tell you who it wasn't by process of elimination. That may have been Al Van Dyke, because I know it wasn't Neil Curtis, it wasn't Sean Fitzgibbons, it was definitely not Steve Gillis or Brian Belisle. It wasn't Ryan Rothwell or Perry Bartley or Dean Carr. So I am going to go with Al Van Dyke simply by process of elimination. We'll use the scientific method there. Trevor Falk, we talked earlier in the game, has hit a lot of home runs and hit a lot of balls hard off of some of the best pitchers in the game. And you see Andrew Kirkpatrick flexing that right knee. He got that hard one hopper off the bat of Falk right off that right knee.
And they had a little bit of a conference after everything settled on that play. He said he was okay, and looks to be, as he started this at bat with a strike, and there's another one to go with it. So Scott Young down in a hole, 0-2.
A little wiggle here. Come on.
On that last play, Van Dyke, when he was coming around second, as Kirkpatrick to second, got the out at second. The man at first is safe. That's Scott Young beating that one out.
That throw just pulled first baseman Ochoa off the bag a little bit. But two in a row now, hard hit balls right back to Andrew Kirkpatrick. Got the glove on that one and made a good throw to second base. But the shortstop Mullins had to look down to find the bag as he caught it short of the bag. Had to take a step onto the bag and then pulled Ochoa off over at first. So Scott Young aboard on the fielder's choice.
And it looks like we're going to have another change here.
Now Jay Paylove emptying the bench. Is he? Is there a runner coming? Ryan Rothwell might have been doing some of the catching out there in the bullpen. So that is number 22
Brian
for
Belisle.
the Snappers, Brian Belisle. So Belisle in to run for Scott Young.
And really the Snappers could have had two base runners on had it not been for Van Dyke getting picked off, coming around second. Brent Thompson with a swing and a miss. It's easy for us to sit up here and say, well, what if, but fact of the matter is he did get caught going around second, so two away here, top of six.
Well, that's a cardinal mistake. There's a pinch runner especially. You're in there for your running acumen, and you've got to be aware of the situation that is developing around you, and when you stray too far off a bag, especially against a top team like this, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. And that's the difference between the top teams and the next level teams.
There's a swing and a drive from Brent Thompson. That one caught down the right field line. Grabbing it, Zenon Winters. He's getting it done with the bat and the glove tonight. 7-2 is the score. Gremlins on top of the Snappers as we move to the bottom of the sixth. You're watching the 2018 World ISC Tournament on the ISC Network.
ISC event? Then stop waiting. Check out our website or social media pages to see when the next event will be near you and come be a part of the experience.
Come on, boys, come on.
See you, man. Yeah, see you too.
Come on, bud. Come on.
Benny Anoka will lead things off here. Bottom of the 6th inning, the New York Gremlins out in front of the Niagara Snappers 7-2. And it's been a bit of a game of contrast to Allen as we look at what's gone on here. The New York Gremlins, 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and then the Snappers able to shut them down and maybe take on a bit of momentum, but Andrew Kirkpatrick really has put a stop to any of that after the Peter Dobbin home run. He has really bared down and I think really taken control of this game. A couple of clean innings in the 6th, a couple of balls actually back up the middle, but Kirkpatrick on top of things and getting the fly ball from Brent Thompson to end the 6th.
It's almost like they were toying with them for a little bit, keeping it close, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, we're going to flick the switch and shut things down.
Ben Anoka pops out to center field, leading things off as coming in to make the grab was number 13 for the Niagara Snappers. That's Casey Toes, who has moved over to center field. And we have got, hard to tell from 238 feet away, who is now playing left field for the Snappers. Unfortunately, we're not getting the changes up here in the press box location. The scorekeeping and the changes all go through a scorer's table, which is right down at field level beside the Snappers dugout on the first base side. So sometimes we're occasionally left wondering who has moved where. We'll see if we can
I wonder if they just left Belial in there and then switched him and Toes.
They may have left Belial in. You're absolutely right. He was in for Scott Young, and that would make sense. Casey Toes is a natural outfielder. Brian Belial is a pitcher by trade, but can also play the outfield. But you wouldn't expect to see Belial in center. So Kirkpatrick again at the plate, his 4th appearance. He's got an RBI single that he picked up all the way back in the first. He had a walk and then almost an unintentional sacrifice his last trip. So 0 for 1, and now still 1 for 1 rather with another walk.
And those free passes continue from the Snappers, as Kirkpatrick will take up residency at first base for the time being. Darby throws one in there. Starts off with a ball.
Ochoa has done a good job at the plate here tonight as well. He's hit the ball hard a couple of times. He put down a sacrifice fly for an RBI.
And took a walk his last at bat. And he's going to advance this time. Another
the hard way
hit by pitch. That'll be the second one from James Darby.
And it looks like he got him on that left knee, I think. And Eric Ochoa is feeling that all the way as he gingerly makes his way down towards first base. He'll hand off his pad to Var Matosian, who's very good at collecting shin guards and other paraphernalia Varm at least good for something.
He's got a collection down there. Left hand's full, right hand's full now.
Yeah. Well, Varm is full of it.
So we get a pinch hitter in here, Jenner Christensen for the Gremlins.
Jenner, a good young player out of the California area, and getting some exposure to, I guess, what you would call the big time. He has played on a couple of teams here in the ISC World Tournament with some local California squads, and with the the California A's, who got to the Final Four a couple of years ago. The issue with being on the California teams is it costs so much money to take the team out here to Canada or to the U.S. Midwest, where the top competition is, that you can spend the money on your team and players and have a great team on paper, but then you don't get to compete anywhere because there just isn't the top-notch competition anymore in California like there used to be. So for Jenner Christensen, opportunity to see all of the top competition. Hard-won hopper, Newhouse, and bobbled by Brent Thompson. Now, is that on the transfer? It is. Rob Straitman, the umpire over on the right side of the diamond, is going to say on the transfer. I would tend to agree. It looked like he was in the process of moving the ball from the glove to the throwing hand when that one popped up in the air. So eliminated at second is Andrew Kirkpatrick.
I think that was Ochoa.
Oh, was that Ochoa, rather? Am I a batter behind? I could be. Kirkpatrick, yes, indeed, up to third, and time called at the plate by Zenon Winters. This one inside to Zenon Winters. So Christensen was on for Mallerzuk. He's over at first on that fielder's choice. Kirkpatrick is indeed at third base, so I'm the one who's behind. But those two runs out there right now represent an early end to this game if Zenon Winters can bring them around. Of course, the run rule is 7 after 5. It's also 15 after 3 and I believe 12 after 4, but of course we're long past that. But an opportunity for the Gremlins at least to save an inning on the arm of Andrew Kirkpatrick. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out here in bottom of the 6th inning. The Gremlins, seemingly, I think really you could say they've always had this one in their grasp. It was close for a little while, but got away from the Snappers in the 5th.
It was close, but it wasn't close, if that makes any sense. The Gremlins really never relinquished control. The Snappers had a good inning where they were able to put some runs up and then get out of an inning unharmed. But in the grand scheme of things, the Gremlins never looked like they were going to relinquish this one so far.
You know, one of our sponsors here this week is Exit Speed Swing with Jeff Ellsworth. And the motto with that is short to it and then long through it, meaning short to the strike zone, getting the bat to the strike zone, and then have the bat through the zone as long as possible. Zenon Winters has the shortest swing. That one down the left field line, that's going to fall foul. And unable to track that one down. Brian Belisle had a long way to go for that. But when you watch Zenon Winters with his swing, he is very short getting the bat into the zone, but the bat is in the zone for a long, long time through the swing.
Generates a lot of power.
He absolutely does. This one pulled foul down the right side this time. So Zenon Winters using the entire field.
And he'll gladly do that to every pitch you throw him until you give him the one he wants.
to get. Come on, up.
James Darby with a lot of pitches thrown here in his time out there for the Snappers, as Winters is going to flare this one out into the gap. Diving attempt out there by Toes, and here comes the run rule, as indeed the Gremlins do stretch it out to a 7-run differential. Zenon Winters brings in the final 2 runs. That's the ball game. The New York Gremlins will take this one 9-2, and Alan Atmansky, I think you're absolutely right. They always had this one in control. The Snappers were close, but at the same time never really threatened the Gremlins in this one.
Well, we talked about it at the top of our broadcast. The Snappers needed a clean start, and they needed to get away with some of the smaller innings. They weren't able to do that right from the get-go. They wound up getting in trouble. 2 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs. It all adds up, and in the grand scheme of things, we see the result on the scoreboard. A 9-2 win for the Gremlins, who came exactly as advertised.
Absolutely. The USA National Champions remain undefeated here in the ISC World Tournament. The Niagara Snappers will drop down to the losers bracket. We may see them again. We will absolutely see the New York Gremlins again here on the ISC Network. For Alan Atmansky, I'm Blair Setford. Lori Cook-Baird, our special guest tonight. Thank you, one and all, for joining us here. Stay with us. We've got one more coming up. The Kitchener-Hallman Twins and the Fargo-Kegel Black Knights. Brady Woods, Sean Cleary coming up.